Coming up, we are going to be talking to Luke Cage himself. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sacred Rewatch, where we are rewatching every project in chronological order in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, leading up to the big one, Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Each week, we go through the MCU in chronological order so you don't have to. And especially this one. We're talking Luke Cage Season 2 today. If you're enjoying the journey with us, make sure to give a 5-star review and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to. But today, I'm joined in person by Wyatt. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you two?
Oh, man, I'm super excited to talk about this. And our resident philosopher, Luke Cage.
Yep. Hello, everyone.
How are you guys doing today? Super stoked?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm pretty stoked.
I'm stoked. I love this show so much.
Well, so before we start talking about and professing our love for this show, do you guys have any preliminary thoughts before we reveal our rankings or our score about the show?
Preliminary thoughts about Luke Cage?
Yes.
I think this is probably one of the bottom 2 pieces of media I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow. Your entire life?
Can you top that?
I can't top what he said. But of all time?
No, I think it's pretty bad. I think it falls flat in pretty much every single aspect that a TV show is supposed to hit, which is never really a recipe for success when it comes to TV.
Right. Which is why you guys should listen to us talk about it for 40 minutes.
Exactly. Well, and something I'd also like to point out that we are going to talk about at the end of this show is Brody, as a surprise to Wyatt. Brody's going to be going through his MCU movie rankings up to this point. It's specifically opinion-based. We actually did my own rankings probably last episode.
I think so.
It's been a couple weeks since our last episode, but he's going to be going through that after we talk about Luke Cage Season 2 because we have so much to talk about. So, guys, I know you guys got your scores ready. Brody, you start us off.
I gave it 7 out of 25.
7 out of 25?
7 out of 25.
Okay.
Lowest aspect was rewatchability. I don't think I will ever rewatch this.
No desire?
I don't think so.
No?
I think I could be pretty confident in saying that. I don't think I'll ever rewatch this.
You've got to be able to rewatch it, right?
No. No.
If you're doing a full Defenders rewatch.
No. I would never watch this again in my entire life. I also gave it a 0 for rewatch. I also gave it a 0 for score. I gave it a total of 4.5.
Ooh.
I think it was by far the lowest I've ranked anything.
That's pretty high, though.
Barring none.
That's pretty high.
Well, I gave it a 6. Shockingly enough, I know I've been the most critical of this panel, but there actually wasn't a single category I gave a 0. You know, I'm normally the first person to give a show or a movie a 0 in some category, but I actually didn't give it a 0 in any category.
Wow. And,
you know, I'll use this time to say why. So, story, I gave half a point. The category that you guys both gave 0, rewatchability, you guys gave a 0? I gave it a 1.
There you go.
Okay.
So I sound like a broken record when I'm talking about Luke Cage Season 2, because this is exactly what I said about Season 1. I finished the show and I still didn't understand what I just watched, and I had 13 hours to digest it, and I still don't really understand what I just went through.
I think that's the big issue with all of these Netflix shows, and I think it's as you'll notice throughout the episode is it's going to sound very repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
These last, it seems like 3 seasons by the same issues. We're going to talk about how 13 episodes is way too long for a TV show.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about how subpar acting takes away from emotional moments with characters, which therefore take away from the story. We're going to talk about how storylines feel rushed, and it causes all of the big moments to fall flat. I mean, it follows the same formula that Iron Fist had, that Luke Cage Season 1 had.
And this is the same question I keep asking myself, especially about the Netflix shows, because everybody says the Disney Plus shows are rushed. There may be an argument there. How is a Netflix show rushed when you have more than double the amount of time you have in the Disney Plus shows? It's 13 hours of content. And even going through this TV show, there hasn't been one Netflix show where we've gotten through 13 episodes and realized, yeah, we did need all 13 episodes or all 13 hours.
Yeah. I mean, I think Daryl Season 1, I feel like is pretty...
There's arguments to be made that there's one or two episodes.
I think the thing is when you look at you look at the Disney Plus shows like Now, I'm not 100% sure if this is true, but most of those shows are 6 to 8 episodes, about 45 minutes each.
Mm-hmm.
6 episodes of 30 to 45 minutes each is so much different than 13 episodes of about an hour each. Because in those Netflix shows, those credits are the last 2 minutes. It's a solid 54 minutes per episode.
Yeah.
You're having 13 hours compared to like 5:45.
Yeah.
There's that perfect middle ground where I do think these Netflix shows would thrive with 9 episodes, 10 episodes. It really is those extra 3, and especially in Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Like, I know it feels weird not weird, but we shouldn't jump straight to the end. But by the end, episode 11, 12, and 13 is 95% filler.
Yeah.
There is so much nonsense and just empty discussion and empty dialogue and empty deposition that really does nothing for the entire show.
So let's talk about the beginning of the show. How do we feel like this translates from the Defenders? Because that was the last time that we saw Luke Cage. Thoughts?
I think these Netflix shows, they keep having this issue where the Defenders will end, and then we'll go, okay, cool. Now here's this character. What are we doing? How do we meet this character? They kind of rush that little like post Defenders to the start of their show. They really throw it all together in the first like 30 minutes, first 20 minutes of their episode of their new season, without really giving a whole lot of explanation to how they really got there. And especially going into Defenders, Iron Fist just shows up. And at the end of Defenders, Luke Cage, at the start of Defenders, Luke Cage gets his name cleared by Foggy and all that. And then Defenders ends and he's just kind of dropped into his own show. I feel like all of these shows do that kind of same thing.
Yeah.
So you feel like it's necessary to watch Defenders to watch Luke Cage season 2 for all the storyline that there is?
I feel like it is necessary to watch it, understand the story, but I feel like they're struggling from an issue from a writing point of view where they don't want everyone to had to have seen it.
It does definitely feel like they're like they can't make up their mind.
Yeah.
Do they want it to be standalone? Do they want it to be a continuation? What are your thoughts?
Well, most of it was just like side comments. Like I think Claire makes some side comments about Matt Murdock or something, or the police station. Some side comments.
I think
about
pretty
stuff
early
that had
on.
happened. But then something like when Iron Fist shows up in the show, and it's like if you hadn't watched Defenders, like this is just some random guy.
Same with Colleen, because Colleen shows up a lot sooner too when she's working with Misty.
Well, like especially Iron Fist. If you were watching and Iron Fist just showed up, you'd be like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah, and what makes it even weirder is my notes for the first couple episodes are kind of bizarre. Like the first episode, I literally wrote whatever. That's how I felt. Like what? Let's move on to the next episode to see if we can get some sustenance. Episode 2. We look at the greatest NFL prospect of all time, Luke Cage. There's odd cameos, Todd Bowles for you NFL fans out there, prominent head coach, black head coach. So it didn't really seem like it served a story purpose, and I feel like there was enough steam behind Luke Cage season 1, so they wanted to invest some more money in cameos or different marketing tools to get people involved. Obviously, we didn't watch this when it came out, but I guarantee you Todd Bowles was in that trailer when it came out.
Oh, 100%.
So and this is what I said. The acting in these Netflix shows are getting worse, but I think it's more due to the writing, like the timing, acting lines. It's starting to become more like a soap opera. And that became very, very apparent each episode you went on.
This feels like Netflix's first Marvel soap opera, and not in a good way at all. There's so many over dramatically blown up and overdone performances, and so much of these kind of like soap opera family drama storylines. And I think what kind of sucks and takes away from the show is that I think the show is dealing with relatively heavy things in the show with its characters in terms of soap opera stuff. Like, for example, with Mariah Stokes, the whole thing with her daughter, like she doesn't love her daughter because she was raped by her uncle, which is such a dramatic storyline for Marvel to really approach at all. Like, the thoughts of Marvel having that in a show that came out tomorrow would be insane. Yeah. And to attempt it in a show like this is, I don't know what the right word is, great for them to attempt it, but there's absolutely nothing there. The performances are so bad, and not only the performance is bad, we don't care about these characters at all. That these somewhat very serious tones and what would be very interesting storylines to see in a superhero show are very, very boring. You don't care. So the whole storyline with Shades and the lover, which is a huge twist when you find out that him and what's his name were lovers in prison together, and there's so much drama there, but neither of them can act.
Yeah.
So you don't actually feel for him at all or care for either one of them at all.
Yeah. And there is some scenes that I really did enjoy in the season, like where I thought the acting and the writing was like getting to a point where it's going to be really good, and then the plot lines just dropped.
Are you talking about that scene with Claire
in the apartment?
Yeah, amazing. I called him. It's an amazing scene. And you know what the best part is? As soon as the scene done, Claire goes like puts her hands on her head, and it plays like a B-roll soundtrack and fades off in the distance to like Luke Cage slowly walking down the streets in Harlem,
right?
As like Ross music's playing.
But the DoorDash is here. Continue the conversation.
Okay. But no, that scene is great.
So that scene was missing one thing. So in that scene, he has that whole emotional fight, and he's walking down the street, and I wanted people to be like attacking him, and he just keeps walking. Like I feel like that would have been like he's just so broken.
Like in Superman, like Superman's walking up throwing stuff at him, and he's just like hitting him, and he just keep going.
Yeah, but like at a different kind of place, like how he usually is walking stuff. You know what I mean? But like that scene is amazing. I feel like that was the only point where I went, okay, this is clearly what these two characters had been going through, and I think that was right after Claire had talked with his father.
Yeah, yes.
And that was my second favorite scene in the whole season. Is I was like, that is amazing. I forget the question that he asked, like Claire, but like Claire's all worried about Luke and stuff, and then he turns the question towards Claire, and it's like, what do you think? Like, what do you want? And when she pauses,
and in the scene, he punches the wall, and Claire has that moment. Like that right there was my whole. Like I promised myself, like it's all so real. All of it feels like, oh, this is a very real end of a relationship for very real human beings. Like all of this makes sense from a human being standpoint, from where we've seen these characters go. And then, like you said, they absolutely drop it. Like you're waiting the whole show for Luke to have this moment, which he starts to have these moments in himself.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for Claire and him to have this moment. And yes, it's great to have that approach, the very realistic approach where they're not going to have that happy ending here. Let's have this big final kiss together in the last episode and we're happy. But also, they very much just dropped the storyline completely. And they only have, they very much set it up as these characters are going to find their way back together because they care for each other. It just feels like Rosario Dawson was busy and they needed a reason to get rid of her. Not get rid of her, but it feels like they just didn't want to have her in the show for anymore, and they needed a reason to get rid of her, which also motivates Luke a little bit.
I'd like to make a big note about Rosario Dawson. She came out during the show while it was filming and said that she wanted to be. She didn't leave.
Really?
Well, there we go. Well, then she did
explains a lot.
She gave a really good performance. She gave her last scene because that 100% makes sense. Because all of a sudden she's just gone, and they say her name like when Danny. It feels like Danny replaces her. Yeah. Like at the end, you're waiting. Who's going to show up to give Luke that? Oh,
and I feel like that was pretty good.
I was about to say.
I felt like
that was the best Iron Fist we'd had.
Emotionally, the perfect fit for like what character would he need to talk to him right now? And I was like, that's like because like usually that's how the crossover stuff is. Like we'll get into some crossover stuff later with some later shows, but like if it just makes sense and you can make the stories like bounce off each other, it works so well. So I felt like when Iron Fist showed up, I was like, this works perfect for the character. But the Claire thing being dropped was so annoying, and especially that thing at the very end of the show, it was like. That line was very annoying.
And it sucks because Claire's one of the stronger characters we've had in all of these Netflix shows. Completely. She's the only one who's shown up in every project. And Colleen showed up in this one. And for all the hate I gave Colleen in Iron Fist, she's not bad at all in Luke Cage. She doesn't carry that same weight that Claire seems to carry with these characters. Yeah. Colleen's much more of like a, hey, you're going to be a training warrior, whereas Claire's much more of the real human approach to these characters. And I think her, which I've just learned from our producer who's behind the camera, that she asked to leave the Netflix shows at this time makes a lot of sense. And it's going to be a huge hit for all of these because she's the only character who's consistently showed up and been a shining light in these subpar shows.
Man, hope she doesn't do that with Star Wars. That would suck, dude.
No, they can't cast
like,
her Ahsoka, and she's like, "Nah, I'm done."
Actually, I'm just done being Ahsoka. That would suck. I wonder what she was doing now. I don't know what other projects she could have been doing.
I'm trying to think. It was like 2014. I don't know.
Right?
Maybe recording the sequels for Avatar. They reported like, oh, are you talking about Rosario Dawson?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who do you think we're talking about?
You thought we were talking about Zoe Saldana?
Why is my... Oh, you're fine.
We'll cut that from you.
Yeah, and then back to what you said about Iron Fist showing up. So I think the Netflix universe, the NCU, has a cool similar approach to what they do.
What do we call it the NCU?
Netflix Cinematic Universe.
Okay.
I came up with it on the spot.
Okay, because I was rewatching something. I was like, what does that stand for?
I think it has. There's the way they deal with the relationship of Luke and Iron Fist is very cool, and it's very not on a dramatic scale, but very similar to what they do with the Thing and Hulk in the comics. Which I don't know how much you two know this. In the comics, Hulk and Thing have a very good relationship with each other because they're two of the strongest Avengers or people in the kind of hero circle, and they really are allowed that gives them this ability to deal with each other in ways that others can't. Like there's oftentimes, like in the comics. Spoiler for a comic that came out 25 years ago, when Johnny Storm dies in the negative zone.
Whoa.
And the Fantastic Four is obviously grieving as hell. The Thing just starts going to town on Hulk, and Hulk's just taking the blows because he's so strong. And this is the sort of thing they do all the time in the comics. This idea that they're able to work their stuff out with each other because they're the only two that can take it is seen very well through Luke and Danny. Yeah. In Defenders, they're constantly fighting with each other.
Yeah.
Because, Iron Fist, he's a immortal fist that can't break anything, and Luke with unbreakable skin. That's seen great in this show, but on a much more emotional way, which I think is a good thing to see in these Netflix shows. And all of the hatred on this show for like the subpar story and the subpar all of it, I think what separates this from the other somewhat bad Netflix shows is Luke Cage himself is actually a very good character.
Completely.
Like the actor is great. The actor is great in the emotional scenes. He's great in like the somewhat strong scenes. The toxic masculinity issue they're tackling. He does it very well. Like those scenes where he's like, I'm a man and my anger is real and I'm justified. Like he does great in those scenes.
And you feel like the man of the people vibe. He's very good at the man of the people vibe. When he was like having the cameras follow him and stuff, like it was very believable and it felt very tangible that he actually knew the people in the town and stuff.
And then when Danny shows up at those last, like not the quite last episode, but it's like 7 through 9 or 8 through 9 around then.
Yeah,
they're not so much taking their anger out on each other in the more like fighting and fist to fist way. They're very much talking is very not mature. That's not the right way to put it, but they're talking about Luke's issues. They're working through it on a much more friendship way, on a much more the issues that Luke seems to be dealing with at the start of the series of his anger and not knowing how to deal with his anger without being a bad guy. You see Danny and him dealing with it in a much more talkative friend way than in the physical fight it out way, which I think is a very cool approach to see for both characters because it makes sense after Defenders. They're friends. They've been through pretty intense moments together. They're gonna have that much more emotional relationship with each other.
But they did that so good because Luke Cage would say something and then Iron Fist would give like a different perspective on what he's saying. And I think this is we talked about this during Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where the writing can be a joke, but it could tell you something else. Like, I really love their conversation about, like, oh, you draw the line at, like, a dragon existing? Yeah. And it's like, as a setup, that's a funny joke. It's a really funny joke, probably the best joke this whole season. And then, but really, like, he is making him question his beliefs. Like, he's in this position, and he's like, what do you actually believe exists, doesn't exist? What do you think is right? What do you think is wrong? And I don't know.
For the hate that I gave Finn Jones for Iron Fist and Defenders, he is actually very good in
the writing.
In this, yes, it is 100%. He's very good. Maybe he did a couple acting lessons or two, but in this 3 episode or 2 episode stretch he's in, he's very good. He's actually very good.
It felt like a whole new character.
It did. He's charismatic. His jokes are landing. He has that charismatic Bruce Wayne kind of vibe that
especially when he first shows up in the barbershop
100%
and he's talking with Luke's buddy and stuff.
And they don't have that kind of like stoicness like that Bruce Wayne has. He has that kid charm with him, and it fits very well, and I think it's great. He does a great job at all those little bits landing for his character, which is nice to see. And I hope carries even a little bit into season 2 of Iron Fist. Yeah, it would at least make it watchable if our main character was entertaining in the scenes, charismatic in the scenes.
Luke Cage is in it.
I hope he is too. I genuinely have no idea what happens in Iron Fist season 2. I feel like it's the one show where no one will show up in.
Right. I don't know.
Are
we closing the recording or do we keep going?
I don't know. I'm just gonna keep going.
I don't know. Just find it.
The stuff with Misty. Again, like they have that whole arc at the beginning with her and Colleen. Did you know they're a team in the comics? They're called Daughters of the Dragon. I didn't know that.
No,
They like fight together.
I didn't know that at all.
But I found it out the other day.
That's crazy.
But all this stuff with Misty and like learning her with her, she's missing an arm, and how now she's a detective. She's
so good.
Yeah, she's a detective with no arm, and she's working with Colleen and learning how to still be strong and all that.
Yeah.
And then they completely throw it all away in the next episode. It's like, okay, cool, all this character growth. Okay, cool. Here's a robotic arm.
Yeah.
So why do they do that? So that she can wear a glove and a jacket, and they don't have to pay to CGI her arm out the entire time. It was so obvious that's the reason they did it.
The fight in the bar, like
was
that
cool.
was good stuff.
Yes,
she tries to punch with the arm that she doesn't have, and then she gets hit, and then like, I don't like the first
that growth in the moment. Where
Yes.
like now I've had these 3 episodes where I'm learning how to live my life like
and the
this,
other girl's
how to
letting
still
her
be
fight.
strong.
Yeah.
And Colleen's just sitting back, and then she starts kicking those guys' ass, and then 2 episodes later they retroactively take it all away. I don't understand why you do that. Like, why I don't understand those types of things.
Like the first like 3-4ish episodes, like I was really enjoying the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really thought like, oh, we have like a really good story here about Luke getting into like a darker side. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought they were really like, I thought this was going to be one of the better seasons.
And then
The first half like completely sold. Like there was good character moments. The scene with Claire talking about her arm and stuff, like there, I felt way more invested in season 1 and stuff, and more invested than I do with a lot of these shows. Like even Jessica Jones and stuff. Like I was totally down for this season, and then like I said, it just takes a complete turn,
and
I was like,
and it
just
takes
lost.
the complete turn that you see. It made the same mistake in season 1.
Yeah.
Everyone I see, we talked about it. Everyone I see who's talked about it, season 1 goes, the start of season 1's really good. You have an interesting villain in Cottonmouth and all this.
Yeah.
And then he dies, and then it switches to Diamondback.
He had to go win an Oscar.
Yes, he had to go win an Oscar
These
for Moonlight.
actors, man.
Like, it's these talented actors that keep leaving mid-season because they're like, ooh, I don't really want to do
That's
this.
the other thing about doing these Disney Plus shows, is you're not signing your actor on for like a crazy deal.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know what deal Rosario Dawson had. Like maybe she had like a 4-show deal.
Or I don't. Maybe
she
they're coming
had
up to
to
her. Hey,
come
we
back.
2 episodes in this show. 2 episodes.
Exactly. So like it sucks because you want to get these really good actors, but then it becomes a problem of like availability. Like even Luke Cage now, like in recent interviews about the actor, would you come back to Luke Cage? He says, if there was a good story and if it didn't interfere with my current schedule with the show that I'm on.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, like even Star Wars has been having like some things here and there where they're having to start doing recasting for certain shows just because availability. Like these shows just can't wait for one person. So it sucks because you want the talent of the person. But when you're like, oh, I guess we're going to do another season and they can't come back, you're stuck in either you write them out or you recast.
And then your rewrites feel obviously flat because they're so shoehorned in.
Yeah.
And then, like, so yeah, what they do is they switch from the character, or they switch their villains again on us in season 2. And then the Mariah Stokes arc is to me so boring.
I felt like sometimes it was cutting in, like when you're cutting between stories like this, like on weekly television, it's normal. But sometimes the plot lines were so separate than what Luke Cage was going through. Like there were some episodes like when they go to that diner or whatever, and they were like trying to lure him out and stuff, and they did the whole fire thing, right? And I was like, okay, that directly ties into what's going on at the police station and all this stuff right now. That's great. But some of these other episodes, they were just doing random side stuff. They're like, oh, let me plan this investment committee. And then the characters don't cross over.
Like you have a very interesting villain with Bushmaster because it is, I see a lot of similar vibes to Killmonger in Black Panther. Before they did that.
Birthright.
Exactly.
Stuff.
Like you mentioned, you have Luke going through this whole somewhat darker time in his life. You know, how do I be a hero? What separates me from the bad guys? How can I protect Harlem and all of that stuff? And then you bring in a character like Bushmaster who believes who's not far off from Luke.
Yeah.
You know, believes relatively the same things, has very similar powers, believes it's like a birthright type of situation. And they have that, now they're not related, but they do have that sort of connection with each other in that way. Yes. You know, they both believe these things the same way Killmonger and T'Challa had at their core beliefs for Wakanda and all that. And there's so much to play off that. And they really don't do anything with it at all. Because instead what it feels like they do is they more separate those two and use them as kind of pawns against the same problem while how they're being villains. That makes too much sense. Like, they're never each other's main villain throughout the entire show.
That was the worst.
They're always just kind of sort of adversaries to the big Mariah Stokes problem, which, in my opinion, no one is boring. So we don't really care about that too much.
But it was just certain things in a show, like they set up so well and they fell flat. Like not just emotionally, but like that first scene of him like training, watching the video, like he got Luke to fight so he could watch the video. I'm like, sick. This guy's like a natural taskmaster. Like he's like watching the fighting, he's practicing, and you're like, oh, there's gonna be this sweet fight next time, and he just like knocks him out on like the side of the road. And it's like, wouldn't
with the corny,
you should set up a whole fight,
backward,
right? You should set up a whole fight like the Taskmaster thing, where he's like mirroring his moves, and Luke can't beat that. And like, and like the bullets thing, they set up that bullet thing, and all that does is be like, oh, Luke's stronger now.
Yeah,
but like, what does that mean for the story? Like, he's more dangerous, but he was already pretty much indestructible. So like, they set up that whole bullet thing. And then they shoot him, and then it doesn't do anything. And then they're like, "Okay, you're stronger now." And then the testing. I thought the testing was a fun episode.
That's
that was cool. That was the one that was the most like involved with the people, hero of the city. And I thought they were really going to set that up. You hero the people, and then take that down, which they kind of do. At the end of it, they're like, "Oh, Luke Cage is kind of to blame." You mean he's a nice guy, but he's not helping as much as he could.
And then it ends with him having the whole like club and all that.
And that. Are we going to get into the finale?
In a sec, because I do want to touch upon, I do feel like a lot of this show suffers from, I feel like it's all of it's over dramatic. It's like the drama was turned up to like a little bit on everything. Not just in terms of the performances, but the stories, a little bit dramatic. The relationships dramatic.
But then visually, like nothing changes.
But obviously, but the outfits are dramatic. The colors are even so, like, there's these scenes where like where Luke's dressed head to toe in like HBCU merch and like all this like pro black and pro Harlem stuff, which I think
the Nike deal
is great for the show, but it gets to the point where it all feels like everyone feels like a caricature of like Harlem representation. And it feels like it takes away a lot from the show when you're looking at these scenes, and it starts to feel like a sitcom because everyone walks in and you're waiting for like a studio audience to react. You have these camera cuts where it's the most overly saturated shot with the most overly done up dramatic costumes and these overly done performances. And there's a point like episode 10 where you're like, this doesn't feel like a Marvel Netflix show anymore.
Yeah, season 1 had way more believability
100%.
in the setting and stuff. But I don't know.
And the finale, you want to talk about the finale?
Are we going to get in the finale?
Yeah, go for it.
So, cut to the chase. They do like the whole prison stuff, right? I thought that stuff was pretty okay.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Also, the run times, we're watching these. Then the last few episodes, the last two, I think, are both over an hour.
They're over an hour each, so for absolutely no reason.
I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and I'm like, it feels like it's dragging. And then it was dragging even longer, and I was like, did I accidentally start the next episode? And then I had another one after that, and the last, I think it's the last two are the one after.
For nothing. Like, there's all of your big moments and like your big sort of payoff moments in the show are concluded through dialogue resolutions.
Yeah.
Like there's no moment for Luke confronting anyone. There's no moment of all of this
scenes.
Yeah, it's just these scenes of deals being cut and people talking and dramatically looking at each other and people turning their back on one another and all that.
Like Stokes in the courtroom.
Well, guys, this is it's a little odd. We were together when this recording started, and now we're about 800 miles apart from each other. We had some severe technological issues. I really have no explanation, other than I live in the middle.
You weren't even in the room.
Well, my house Wi-Fi is like I've been walking the Gobi Desert for like 35 years. And even though we weren't connecting to anybody, the computer decided to just off itself. So I don't even know if you guys know where you finished off. Luke Cage season 2 already, tough conversation had. And I know you guys were having a great one already. But if you're listening to this episode, God bless your heart. You know,
Right.
I don't know how you've made it this far, But let's continue whatever conversation there was to be had. And then I did not forget, Brody, we're going to be going over your movie ranking list.
Okay. So just to pick up where I think we left off, is I was just getting into like the final episode there in the courtroom. And what's her name? What's our villain lady's name again?
Mariah Stokes.
Yes. She's in the courtroom, and it's like this opening scene of this whole ending of the show, right? And she's just like starts talking to the judge and is like explaining her family history. Like at the end, and that's not going to change anything. Like it just felt like such a pointless scene. I just thought that was so dumb because then like it just cuts to Luke Cage and he's like, and it's like, I don't know. I don't remember what I was saying about that scene, but all I know is that scene did annoy me. And I think the other thing we're getting into at the finale is like, there's a scene where Luke Cage is offered the club, right? He's offered Stokes' club in the finale, right? And he's like, nah, I don't want that. Burn it to the ground. That's what he says. He says, burn it to the ground. It shouldn't be there at all. And then the next scene is him like running the club, which I know is supposed to be like, oh, we got you. You thought he wasn't going to take it. But it was so dumb. Like for him to be like, burn it to the ground, like it would have been a cooler scene to have him making the right choice and burning it down than to be like, oh, he's actually might be a bad guy wanting power. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're going to do that, have him choose that first. Don't try to fake it out and be like, oh, burn it to the ground. I just thought that was so dumb.
I'm confused on what they really were going for in season 3. And I know we never got a season 3, but it doesn't feel like this show was written to end with Luke Cage getting the club and, that being the end of his story.
I agree. It felt like evident, the ending.
Yeah. So I don't know how they felt like they were going to go into season 3 with this. I'm not too sure what their plans were to be. What I don't know if sucks is the right word, is that the show isn't good enough that I'm sitting here being like, oh man, it sucks we never got season 3 of Luke Cage. And I think that's kind of the running trend with all of these Netflix shows, it's very evident kind of why they ended. I don't think any of us want an Iron Fist season 3, or none of us.
I'm good.
None of us are going to be like, oh man, I wish we got another season of Luke Cage. It's kind of sad to see these Netflix shows all flop as their seasons go on and on.
Yeah, they have like a little bit of gas and then they run out quick.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have much to keep them propelled, much to keep you interested. And it's just tough. Like every season I feel like almost gets me in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Where like the first few episodes, first few scenes, I'm like, oh no, maybe they figured it out. Maybe they're on to something, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's what I've noticed with a lot of these Netflix shows, is they usually get me with something. Like Daredevil season 2, I think, was one where I was saying the same thing. I was like, the opening was awesome, the bar scenes, I mean, all that stuff. And then by the time it's like midway to the end of it, there's so many plot lines. There's so many things that I'm just not interested in, that I'm just waiting to get through. And that just seems like a common theme between all these.
I don't disagree, and the show sucks.
Yeah.
I also like share the sentiment that it's almost sad the way these Netflix shows, the writing is on the wall. That it didn't really pan to anything, and it doesn't even really relate to anything in the MCU. Obviously, there are some things that we may be able to talk about in our Illuminati takeover episode. Some people are starting to come back,
What?
But just from a pure story issue, I get these people are street level heroes, right? And they need to be kind of, I don't know. I feel like I'm almost confused on whether I want it to be a fully tied in story to the rest of the grander MCU, or do I want it to be in its own little pocket that you don't need to watch anything else?
that ties directly to what I was about to say about these Netflix shows. Is I think what kind of what shoots them in the foot compared to the Disney Plus shows is the Disney Plus shows are all very connected to your MCU. So like Ironheart,
Yeah.
I didn't watch Ironheart yet, but I know that it got really bad reviews. But for someone who likes Marvel and like considers him someone who wants to be updated, no matter how bad Ironheart is, they have to watch it. Not have to, but like there's
And it was
there's
set
that
up.
push that like this is MCU. You probably should watch it. Whereas these
And it
Netflix
was in
shows,
Wakanda Forever.
yeah, but I'm just in general, just these Disney Plus shows in general are so much more connected that when these Netflix shows, when you're halfway through season 2 of Iron Fist, and you're like, this is really bad. Why would you don't have there's no reason to keep watching, Even at the time, there was no reason to be like, oh, is Iron Fist going to show up in Iron Man 3? It's like you knew it was never going to happen.
And it's tough because you can't even blame them. Like,
Mhm.
obviously, it wasn't their decision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just they were never given certainty on what they could do, you know what I mean? Where their limits were. And I don't think there was any way to connect them at the time. You know what I mean? Like, most fans at the time, I don't think were watching these shows. It was a very specific audience that was watching these. So even if they were in the movies and stuff, it wouldn't really work or make sense.
And part of the reason too, like, we are kind of in this pickle, and this is a lot of things. COVID messed a lot of things up. I want to say it was almost guaranteed that Luke Cage was going to get a season 3 if COVID didn't happen. So, obviously the MCU would be drastically different if COVID didn't happen. I've said this before directly. I don't think we have a podcast if it wasn't for COVID, to be quite honest with you. I think the entire MCU has been completely shaken up because of that real life event. I don't know, man.
Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness got pushed back a year and a half almost because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think, yeah, I mean, that's a whole different topic to go down, but it'd be very interesting to see if they finally were able to make a really engaging story, not just for Luke Cage season 3, but a potential Iron Fist season 3, or a Daredevil or Jessica Jones season 4, right?
We'll have Daredevil season 4.
Do you have a second Defenders series? Like, do you think that probably would have happened? I don't know.
I think Daredevil Born Again is their attempt at that, and I think there's another issue they're going to run into is, I guess, so much the notoriety between the rest of their Netflix characters. Like, there's a chance, I don't know, there's probably a good handful of people who loved Marvel back in the day who clicked through Netflix and didn't even know that Jessica Jones was MCU or Marvel at all, just because it's Jessica Jones. So I don't know what that is. When you have Daredevil as such a recognizable superhero and a Marvel, just the name Daredevil, you know it's going to be a superhero type show. I feel like that kind of loses a little bit too back in the Netflix era, which I feel like nowadays won't be so bad. But I think Born Again is their kind of attempt to show people these Netflix kind of style shows can be kept alive and brought back. And I'm not going to talk about Born Again because this isn't about that episode, but it is closer to a Netflix show than it is a Disney Plus show.
Is it?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I feel like now the best way to integrate them is just in other projects.
Well,
like, I feel like most of the TV shows.
Have you seen the leaks for the Daredevil trailer?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think there's a chance, I definitely think there's a chance down the line.
But I'm just saying, like, street level stuff, I feel like has actually been pretty good in the MCU as of recent. I thought Ms. Marvel did it well. I thought She-Hulk did it well. You know what I mean? I thought that those were pretty grounded, self-centered stories. You know what I mean? Where you could have characters like this show up for an episode just for like, hey, Netflix fans, we remember you exist. We can't tie you into the new Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, whatever movie. But you can have the character back, you know what I mean? Just for a little thing, and then if that does well, they'll do it again. And I feel like it's kind of just what they're doing now.
And I think we're starting to see them do it again, Because everyone, all fans, I feel like post-Endgame, the big kind of like wish or want, or what I hear MCU fans asking for is they always want street level this. They want street level Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They want street level Daredevil. They want street level whatever, which I 100% want too. And I think what happens is I think Marvel at the start kind of had a misconception of what street level meant. Like I think to me, street level means like a vigilante, not a superhero. I mean, yeah, Daredevil is a superhero, but he's not like flying and breaking buildings and jumping through like super speed. Guys whose powers are the ability to fight, pretty much. Like they're just guys who want to protect the city. That's street level to me.
Right.
And I think we're starting to see that. We're getting Daredevil Born Again. We're getting the Punisher short series.
Yeah,
I think
what really works is the casting. Like, because the casting's amazing, and you can just have them come back with different writers, different teams, and do different things. And that's something that's always super interesting to see, just because with how long-running Marvel stuff goes, usually you see the same characters with different writers, with different directors, and you get to see different things. You know what I mean? Like, I think Whedon Captain America is a little different than, like, our nowadays Captain America stuff that, like, we got, like, later on. You know what I mean? So I think it's just, like, I'm always down to see, like, almost any character come back. Other than Styx. Styx can't come back. Stokes can't come back. The Styx and the Stokes, out of here. We're done with them in these shows. But, like, other than that, bring them back. Try different writers. Try different things. And
I've always said that.
See what works.
I've never had a problem with characters coming back or not being dead. It's when it's Palpatine's returned. That's when I have issues with it, Like, I'm always down.
Even that, I'm a little like, I don't care.
At
that point in the movie, I was like,
don't care because it's
sure.
I don't know. Yeah, given all the back,
look at the Star Wars stuff.
It happens somehow. Somehow,
Ethan's getting pissed about Star Wars.
They'll get into it, man.
The Palpatine Returns has so much going into it outside of the movies, and it kind of just had to be like, you know what? He's here. He's back. He's back.
Somehow.
It was announced in Fortnite. Let's get this clear. In a Fortnite event, wait. You guys didn't know this?
No.
This is amazing. If you sat through this Luke Cage podcast, you get the Star Wars information. So if you were at I think it was an event thing, I was there at a Fortnite event where J.J. Abrams walked out of a Millennium Falcon and he was talking about the new movie, Rise of Skywalker, right? And during the event, Palpatine starts narrating this whole speech, this entire speech that is like in the opening crawl to Rise of Skywalker. It says Palpatine has just announced to the galaxy that he has returned. And it's the message that we got in Fortnite is the message that apparently he sent out to the galaxy, and it's not in the movie.
That is so
It's so
cool.
funny, dude.
That is so
That
cool.
is like the first piece of information that we had. Like, we knew he was back, obviously, because of the trailers and stuff. But it was so funny that speech is what made that canon.
That's
but yeah.
So funny.
So,
characters coming back.
It seems like the last couple Defenders seasons we've been talking about, we barely talk about the show itself at the end. Not really our fault.
Hey, in our defense, we talked about the show 4 days ago.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. So I will leave you guys with this one last question. It's probably going to be a little bit of shorter episode. You guys have already said that you want to see Luke Cage return in some capacity. Wyatt, with the remaining shows we have left, I don't know if you've seen every single one. You may have seen it a long time ago, maybe not remember.
I think I'm at my limit.
Really?
I think the only one I've seen after this that I can I actually know like story points is Punisher. And Punisher.
Okay, so my question to you guys, because we've got Iron Fist Season 2 next, Jessica Jones Season 3, Daredevil Season 3, The Punisher Season 2. I think that's it. I think we only got 4 more left. Do you think Luke Cage is coming back? Not if you want him to come back. Do you think he will?
I think there's a chance because they all seem to show up relatively often in everyone else's shows. I was actually forgot to comment on that. Daredevil's the only one who isn't seemingly crossing over very fluidly post Defenders,
Which is really odd when you really think about it. He's a lawyer.
You know what it is? No, it's honestly because I think it's the Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett effect. Like, if you drop Daredevil in Iron Fist season 3, that is all we're gonna care about. You know, that's just true because he's gonna be
completely.
because
It's true.
it's just because he's
how bad do I want to see Daredevil and Iron Fist?
That's all. That's all Charlie Cox. Like that's just whenever Charlie Cox is on screen as Daredevil, he's great. You know, he plays the character amazingly. So every time he's in, imagine if he was in Luke Cage season 2, it would take away from everything because all he would talk about is how, Luke Cage season 2 is terrible, but wow, Matthew Murdock is just so charming and good in every scene he's in, and he just carries the whole show. That's what we'd say about all these shows. So he can't, but I get it.
And there's levels to it too, because in Daredevil, whenever Punisher shows up, we're all excited. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there is layers to that kind of thing going on.
And Daredevil,
I just don't think that this show and
disconnected.
Daredevil crosses. You know what I mean? Like, Daredevil's very connected to Punisher. You know what I mean? And Jessica Jones is very connected to Luke Cage. But then after Defenders, it feels like they're leaning more towards their Iron Fist connection with Luke Cage. So if I think we're going to see him again, it would be in Iron Fist season 2. But that's only if they had not written that before Rosario Dawson dropped out of this show. Because if they already wrote that with just the Iron Fist, I don't think he's going to be in it.
Just because
But if Rosario Dawson had dropped out before they wrote Iron Fist, then they were like, okay, well, we can make a Luke Cage connection. But realistically, I think if they already had the contracts out, and it was just, he's going to be in Luke Cage season 2, and we don't have anything planned for Iron Fist, I think there's a low chance of it happening, but I want it to happen in that show.
It could happen in Jessica Jones as well, just given that was their history.
It's gonna happen.
But also, take from the point of view of the character of Luke Cage, it'd be really hard to drop him in any show. Because of where now he's the club owner and all that, and where he's at, it would just be like, it feels like he's in a much different kind of world now than the other Netflix people are. Like, is he gonna show up in like his suit like a club owner, and being like, I don't know, or is he just gonna be like in a sweatshirt and a hoodie and act like nothing happened, which is what I feel like they would do.
Like, that's why I want to see something, dude.
You could just be walking the streets and we would never know.
I just want to see what, like, Iron Fist thinks of it now that he made that decision. You know what I mean? All that stuff. But that last club scene was annoying.
Well, I think that's gonna conclude our Luke Cage talking. We just got to see, you know, our next project that we got is Iron Fist season 2. Super excited for it.
I have a closing comment.
If you can't tell, I am just so sarcastic about that. Why? What is your closing comment?
I am legitimately officially on the Defenders like season 2 Disney Plus bring it back train. Like, I want all these characters back. I do.
But you want to
show
a different tone or writing.
I think I've actually gained such an affinity towards these characters because of this podcast that I think it'd be so cool to see these people back. You know, not many people have seen all of them.
You think they do it differently?
Yeah. I think there was enough structure and kind of bones there that you can see the pieces, you know. I think the Defenders, there was chemistry there between the 4 of them. There was. There were plenty of great moments on screen with the 4 of them where it really does feel like it was more of a writing issue. So I think it'd be cool to see. Maybe they pop up here and there in some shows.
Would you want it to be a show or like a movie? Like
I know exactly.
Like even if it was straight to Disney Plus movie.
I know exactly what I want it to be. I want it to be. I don't know if I necessarily want Defenders to be its own show. I more just want them to have a big role in the new season of Daredevil.
Gotcha.
Like, I don't care if they get a show, but I would like them to show up and have a decent role because it very much feels like they're leaning in that direction.
They're like in a random show, and then like they start opening the Doctor Strange portal, and out steps Luke Cage, and they're like, "Whoa!" You know what I mean? And they open the next portal, and it's Jessica Jones.
I think they would just be in the universe,
right? I'm just saying it'd be funny if you just edit over some audience reactions of Marvel and edit them over the dumbest scenes from this show.
Finn Jones stepping out of the portal with Iron Fists in comic
and then the whole
attire.
Audience is like losing it.
And he's dressed in green with a yellow bandana tied around his head. And you're like, oh no.
Right. He like no, it's like how X-Men teased all the years. He like opens the briefcase and he sees the suit and he's like, nah, not yet. You know what I mean? Then at the end of the movie, he's like wearing it underneath. Dude, they maybe they should bring it back. But the problem is, even me wanting them to bring it back, is I'm going, that's just Thunderbolts. Like I know it's different characters, it's a different thing. Like realistically, what I would want, Marvel already just recently did.
Yeah, it would be
like I understand it's different
Thunderbolts
characters, different
on
levels
Disney
of powers and stuff, but like I don't know, they're kind of similar. We got Iron Fist, we got like a Metal Fist guy. They're kind of the same kind of teams.
But
you got like the bulky guy.
What could do the Defenders well is having the Defenders keeps the ability to give you a TV MA show that can deal with pretty intense kind of topics. Like, because these Netflix shows, they attack stuff like sexual assault, so it'd be cool for Disney Plus to have that outlet to keep those kind of storylines going, because those very, very real, very adult topics, I feel like are very strong in these Netflix shows, and you don't really get that a lot in Disney Plus. Like, especially like not even so much on that,
especially,
but like all this stuff like in season 1 and 2 of Daredevil, where he very much is like dealing with the devil inside of him. Netflix doesn't really Disney doesn't really take that approach with any of their characters. That they feel like, oh, I'm right on that edge. Like I'm on the edge of being a bad guy. I'm on the edge of making that step of going too far. So it'd be cool for Netflix or for Disney to still be able to have those MCU storylines. And I think the Defenders is a cool way to keep that. At least with Jessica Jones and like I don't know.
Well, I don't want to cut off our conversation too much. I can feel that there's a greater MCU conversation to be had, which we are going to have very soon.
Oh,
and if you're watching this right now, our new episode just came out, our Halloween episode. Take you back. We did an Easter egg episode that dropped on Easter. Very similar conversations to be had. So make sure to go check out our Halloween episode. Illuminati Takeover is out right now. So be sure to go check that one out. Brody, I want you to almost speed run your movie rankings list, and then we'll wrap it up for the day.
All right, so we're going from last to first, right?
Yes, and give us a refresher. I believe it's how many movies so far?
I have 18 listed here.
Yes, I think we verified that's correct.
And I wrote this the other day, so I feel like I'm going to feel regret saying these out loud.
And you said you had some controversial ones when you're writing them, so I'm very curious for you to go through.
I always do, but like I'm not a ranking person. This isn't what I do. I'm very cornered into ranking stuff when I do rank it.
I gave you a task, you got to complete it. So let's
I know. So number 18, Incredible Hulk. Nobody's gonna argue with that. Nobody. 17. Are you gonna argue with that?
No.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure. If I remember correctly, it's low on yours at least. 17, I got Captain Marvel, which is weird. Like, I don't hate that movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's just where it ended up being on the listing. Okay. Next, we got Ant-Man. Ant-Man I enjoyed a little more than I previously did on this rewatch.
Ant-Man's less? Well, okay.
Ant-Man doesn't really feel Marvel to me. I don't know why.
I can't think of it. I can't think of what to replace it with though at this time, so I can't really argue it. So all right, keep going.
Next we have Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, I actually really enjoyed on this rewatch. The first half.
He's right.
The first half, I was loving that movie. Like the ending was still fun, but like the beginning had a really great visual style, really fun stuff. I actually really enjoyed the journey the character was going on.
Second rewatch killed Doctor Strange for me. I don't like that movie at all anymore. I liked it, and then I rewatched it for this, and I was like, this movie sucks.
Next, we have Iron Man 2. Okay. That's just where I know Iron Man 2 has really great character interactions and matchups, so I feel bad putting it there. But it's just the way it is. Iron Man 3, I have a little higher up. I feel like dealing with Iron Man's PTSD and stuff is something that I really remember, and I think is really fun for the character.
Iron Man 3
and I just remember watching it a lot. Right? Next, we have Thor: The Dark World.
Oh, wait!
I enjoy...
That should have been so long. That should have been so much longer.
I can't believe that it's above Ant-Man and Doctor Strange. I would agree with Wyatt.
It should have after Captain Marvel.
Did not hit how I thought it would, but to put that above it is insane.
Yeah, I agree. I forgot.
I love fantasy stuff. I love space stuff, and I love a lot of the sequences in this movie. Even if I don't understand the villains at all still, and really what they're doing, what language they're speaking, I don't get it, okay? But when, what's his name, Heimdall, stabs 2 daggers into the ship and goes down like a pirate sail, I go, that's cool.
That is pretty
okay?
cool.
And I love the Loki and Thor interactions in that movie. It's just the way it is. And I love the stuff that Loki does accidentally in that scene, in Thor doing a flip to grab the hammer. There's cool stuff in that movie. Anyway, and the soundtrack is amazing. Brian Tyler. 11, Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just the way it is.
You.
I don't rewatch the first one a lot. I'm not a big first movie guy for Guardians. I think it's amazing. I think it changed
Guardians,
the MCU.
This doesn't surprise me.
That's true. I love
Really?
the first one. I think
I'm
the
a
first,
big Guardians guy, but you know my ranking. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I've known you don't like the first one too. Not that you don't
Okay.
like the first one. I've known that it's not your favorite.
You're
I
a
love
big Guardians
I
of the
love
Galaxy
first
guy,
one.
just not a big Guardians Volume 1 guy. I have
Yeah.
I have a
love
feeling
Volume
of what your number 1 is, and I'm going to be really disappointed if you say it out loud, but continue.
Okay.
Can I ask a really dumb question?
I just like when the team's already together.
What's
Yeah,
your dumb question?
Never mind. It's actually
No,
so
you have
stupid.
to ask it.
I
You
was
have
gonna
to.
ask. Okay, I was gonna ask. Have we watched that yet? And then I realized that Brody's doing his rankings on the movies we watched, and I don't know why. Because
Yeah.
I forgot everything
That's how I
said
am
about
with
it.
Guardians.
I just got.
Are you talking about
ooh.
Guardians?
Yeah, I was I'm excited to watch Guardians.
Yeah,
Volume
Guardians,
1.
I always forget
And
where
then
it
I
is
go,
in the
wait.
timeline.
You can
We
go
already
do that
watched
on
it.
your own time now.
I
Wyatt.
know. So we already watched
Number
it.
10, we're in the top 10. Black Widow. I've been recently rewatching Black Widow a lot. I love the
Good-ass
opening
movie.
sequence. It's an easy watch action movie. The characters are fun. The actors are great chemistry. Soundtrack's amazing. 9, we have Thor. Really enjoyed Thor on the rewatch this time. I think I ended up watching it again right after. It's actually a lot of fun. I thought it was really slow previously in the past when I've watched it, rewatched it, and I actually love it. Next, we got the Avengers. I think the Avengers does so much impressive stuff with the characters interacting. I think it's great. 7, we got Iron Man. Iron Man's just great. It's like your base good, right? 6, we got the Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier's awesome. I don't rewatch it tons, but we all know it's like pretty perfect with most of the stuff that it does. Lots of people strive for it. Number 5, we got Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron, probably some of the best character work with the Avengers. The only movie where the Avengers is like a full team, full formed for pretty much the whole movie. So that's pretty much the peak of the Avengers. And we get like Wanda and stuff introduced. Great villain with Ultron, obviously. 4, we got Spider-Man Homecoming. This ended up being higher on the list, but like the fun, young energy, fun soundtrack. This one's like rewatchable as can be. This John Watts does such a good job getting those Ferris Bueller vibes. And it's an amazing movie. You really feel for the kid. Tom Holland's a great actor. 3, we got Guardians Volume 2.
Oh, thank the Lord.
So this is the change. So normally, Guardians is in my top 2 for the MCU. Okay? Normally, Guardians 2 is in my top 2 for the MCU. So this was a change from the rewatch.
Wow.
I might regret this later, but this is a big deal. This podcast has brought out visual change in my Marvel ranking because of Ethan right here and because of Wyatt's discussions on the movies. So there we go. Next, we have Captain America Civil War. Civil War is a lot of fun. Tons of
2
superheroes.
Captain America movies in the top 2. That's pretty good. Oh.
Captain America for life, dude. I'm Team Cap all the way, right? And then, yeah, First Avenger is my number 1 movie. I love First Avenger.
Really?
I rewatch First Avenger all the time. I love it. Great love story. Great ending. Honestly, I usually turn off before he wakes up from the ice. Just because then the movie's done and I don't have to watch Avengers. It's an amazing movie. I love it.
That's a solid list. I feel like that list, I don't want this to be offensive. This list is very catered to you.
It is very catered to Brody.
That's what I was told to do.
It is a
That's
very
what I was
Brody
told to
list.
do.
But I
This is
do
how I
like
watch
your
them.
insight, and I'm glad we're doing this. Next week, Wyatt, we're gonna do yours.
Okay, I'm
trying
excited.
to get everybody by surprise. I got Brody's off guard when I did mine.
Yep.
I wanted Wyatt to be surprised when Brody did his. So I'm very happy with how this is turning out because I love seeing the differing of opinions. Any final thoughts? Well, I'll limit you guys to 60 seconds if you have any final thoughts on the rankings, Luke Cage season 2, or where we're going with Iron Fist season 2.
I got nothing.
Oh man.
I know. I don't know. I don't think we're getting anything different than we've gotten in the last 4 seasons of Netflix shows. From any of them, at this point, we're just watching them. You know, we're just getting through it.
Right.
Looking forward to the
see.
next. What's the next movie? What's the next movie?
We have.
Is it Wasp?
I need
Ant-Man
to,
and Wasp?
It's probably going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp, but no end credits scene because I want Thor Ragnarok to be the last movie we watch before Infinity War.
Okay. That's funny.
Interesting.
Well, that is going to do it for this episode of The Sacred Rewatch. We hope you enjoyed diving back in the timeline with us and diving back into this episode with us. I have no explanation for the technical issues, but I appreciate you guys hanging on. New recap episodes are coming out every week leading up to Avengers Doomsday, wherever you are in the multiverse. Thanks for making The Secret Rewatch part of your journey for all time, always. See you guys.